In this presentation, you will learn about women and development as proposed by Esther Boserup. The study of women and development owes a great deal to Esther Boserup, whose contribution in this area has been very significant. Through her pioneering work, Women and Development, she first drew attention to how the process of development and related social change was affecting the lives of women. She states that the status of women and economic development are two significant areas in which research is needed and is rightfully being conducted, especially in the third world. Studies on women in these countries has shown that the problems of women in the labor force are peculiar. Women are overburdened with work while their efforts are partly wasted because they have less training and even more primitive equipment than the male labor force in their communities. This brings about a need for more research to improve the working conditions of women in the third world, especially women in domestic work and in rural areas, and to provide them with better access to the labor market. Boserup states that there has been objection to studies on women's development as they largely stress on the problems of labor market and productivity, which is not seen as a major problem confronting women. Studies show that women in developing countries are actively involved in agriculture, craft, trade, or construction and support themselves and their families by such work. In spite of being wholly engaged in labor activities, their social status continues to remain low. Therefore, the study of women's status, especially in relation to male family members, is the main issue and should take priority over labor market studies. However, in third world countries, the subordinate position of women derives from legal or customary rules which women are unable to change. As a result, economic self-support exists along with interior status. It rather be inferior status. In some countries, important changes have taken place in the legal status of women by giving women the right to divorce, guardianship of her children in the case of divorce or widowhood. But these have not brought about a corresponding change in the real family status of women. Economic change is also occurring in most developing countries. This change, however, is making it more difficult for women to support themselves. Women's work is mostly in the informal sector or in the household. If women do not have opportunities to earn money, their dependence on men will increase and their social family status will decrease in spite of their legal dependence. Studies on women and development must be integrated with studies of development process itself. In this process, some groups get a large share of development benefits, while others may become victims of development because their products, activities, or skills may be replaced by newer, more productive or efficient activities. Both men and women may become victims of development, but it is mostly women who suffer from the adverse impact of development. This happens because women find it more difficult to adapt to new conditions because of the following reasons. They are less mobile than men due to family obligations. Traditionally, their choice of occupations is more narrow or limited. They usually have less education and training. They face sexual discrimination in recruitment. Also, in developing countries, a much larger percentage of the female labor force is involved in traditional occupations which are gradually replaced by newer enterprises in economic development. This generally points to large numbers of women in third world countries being adversely affected by development. The speed of modernization and economic growth in the different third world countries is at a great variance. The occupational opportunities available to women are related to the differences in natural resources, the stock of human and physical capital, foreign relations, and government policies. In countries where economic growth is rapid, attitude towards women's work outside the home are also changing swiftly, and women are joining the labor market. Conversely, in countries where economic growth is slow and population growth is rapid, women from economically weaker sections are forced into already crowded occupations such as market, trade, and domestic service to help support their large families. Therefore, in order to help women improve their status in developing countries, The patterns of development to be applied must take into account the economic conditions, institutional patterns, and attitudes to women's work in that specific country. It would make little sense to merely apply the development models, either Western or alternative to the developing country. Thank you for watching the presentation. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments after this presentation or any other topic you would like to learn more about.